All right, let's go to the Big 12 here. We got TCU and Oklahoma. Oklahoma 10.5 point home favorites, 11 in some spots in Norman, 63 being the total in this game. So interesting line move. But again, this is all regarding, there's some key injuries. There's a lot of injuries for Oklahoma on offense. Jaleel Farouk, the receiver, questionable. Marcus Major, running back, questionable. Couple tight ends banged up. Dylan Gabriel, of course, at quarterback. We'll see if he plays, but obviously he left the game against BYU, and that was pretty much it for my Oklahoma bet in that game. They're lucky Oklahoma has managed to survive that game against BYU, but Gabriel's injury certainly didn't help. But it does sound, according to Brent Venables, that Dylan Gabriel is going to be good to go here for this game against TCU, despite the injury that forced him out of the game against BYU last week. He will be good to return against TCU this week. If he does play, certainly that helps Oklahoma. Oklahoma, though, lately is chalk, other than the West Virginia win, haven't been really good from a point spread standpoint in this bigger favorite role. The question is going to be, can you trust TCU? TCU is not the same team they were last year, clearly. 5-6, though. They're playing for bowl eligibility. They've played better the last few weeks. Close loss to Texas Tech. Very close loss to Texas. Excellent effort for TCU against Texas. And then, of course, last week against Baylor, big favorites, but just ran away and hid from a bad Baylor team, 42-17. So, again, other than the Texas game, has the schedule been tough? Maybe not, but, they hung tough with a solid Texas Tech team. They almost beat Texas, which is obviously had a great season, maybe a little bit not quite as great as we thought maybe Texas would be, but they've won all the games they're supposed to, even though not a lot of them have been difficult for them. And then they pummeled Baylor. So, and there is still a possibility for them to get bowl eligible here. So I think TCU is going to show up. I'm tempted to take them with the points here. TCU historically have been a better underdog as well. Keep that in mind under Sonny Dykes, and we'll see if that keeps up here in this game. And certainly would only play this game over the total as far as total goes. The one concern is TCU's defense might be in for a battle here from a very good Oklahoma offense now that it looks like Gabriel is going to be under center. What do you think here, Conor? Big 12 action.
I'm pretty sure he's a go, and if everything's fine with Gabriel, yeah, I think you look over. Both these defenses are great. Oklahoma should get theirs versus TCU. But if Hoover plays like he has the past few weeks,
he's gotten better.
Yeah, the mistakes have been like Texas. Yeah, he had a pick, but he threw for over 300 yards on that defense. He had over 400 last week, and like I've talked about all year, this Oklahoma defense I don't think is great. And what are they playing for? They're 9-2. Yeah. I mean, of course it's Oklahoma, but I think TCU. I think you just lean to these points. I go right back to it. I'm kind of kicking myself. I just had seen BYU hadn't been able to run the ball. Their backup QB was in who hadn't done anything, but he came out great, and BYU was running the ball all over Oklahoma there, especially that first half. So they were asleep there early in Provo. So yeah, right now, early in the week, I think the points here at TCU, and I think you got to lean over as well.
Yeah, definitely should be interesting to see how this one plays out, obviously, on Friday. Now, look, there is an outside chance for Oklahoma to be in the Big 12 championship game. They need a win and a Texas loss against Texas Tech, which is a game we will talk about in just a bit. So technically, they're still alive, but again, they got to win this game and they got to get some help from the Red Raiders who play. And look, Red Raiders, that's for Texas is not having any games, easy games against anybody right now. Even the Iowa State game for them last week they had to work for it. So never say never, but there is that backdoor pathway for Oklahoma to be in the Big 12 championship game next week if they're able to win and get a Texas loss. I'm pretty sure they would be in it for sure because they'd hold a tiebreak. And plus, keep in mind too, a lot's still up in the air. You've got Texas at 7-1 in the conference. And then you've got Oklahoma, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State all at 6-2 in the conference. So Oklahoma is still very much alive to be in the Big 12 championship, but it starts with a win here, and they've got to get a Texas loss to give them a chance. And I think they also need to win.
Oklahoma State would need to lose
because Oklahoma State
because they win tiebreaker
over them 100%. So they lose tiebreakers. Oklahoma with they win the tiebreaker against Texas, they lose it with Oklahoma State because of the head-to-head situation with those. So keep that in mind. This is definitely going down on the wire here as far as the Big 12 championship representation is concerned. And let me just see Oklahoma as far as Kansas State. I don't think they played Kansas State this year. No, they did not. Oklahoma did not play Kansas State this year. So that one, there's another tiebreaker that would have to be used for that. But yeah, Oklahoma is still, they enter this game knowing that, hey, we got to win. And if we do, we might still have a chance at least to be in the Big 12 championship game.